Hi, I'm Robin.
And I'm Bill.
Welcome to Not the Retirement Show. Today we're talking about the top 5 fears that you need to overcome about downsizing in retirement. This is going to be a good, juicy, emotional discussion. I think, in my mind, one of the number one things that people need to get over here is the idea that they're somehow giving in to the aging process or admitting that they're old, heaven forbid, if they agree to think about downsizing.
Well, I think that's right. But, the fact is, if you're getting older, you're getting older. I mean, we're all getting older. So, you got to look at the quality of life. You got to look at your lifestyle. And frankly, you got to get over that kind of an issue. It is an issue. People, some of us included, do think about getting older. But so what? I mean, move on. Look at the lifestyle issue.
When you think about lifestyle, I think a lot of us have a fear somewhere deep down in our gut that if we move from the place that has been home for 20, 30, maybe 40 years for some people, that wherever they go to will never feel like home again. And I think because we have that fear, we have a tendency to make up all kinds of excuses as to why we can't move or we won't move, or it's too difficult to think about or too stressful or too complicated anytime the subject comes up.
I think that's a short-lived situation. I think you're right that, if you've been in the homestead for the last 300 years, then you sort of don't want to leave it. I understand that. But if for a variety of other reasons, which we'll discuss here, that there is a genuine good reason to downsize and therefore to move to a different location. And you can downsize in the same neighborhood, you can downsize in the same town or city. You don't have to downsize to Kazakhstan or anything like that. You can do whatever you want. But the downsizing issue is very much an emotional thing. There's no question about that. But you know what? After 6 months or 9 months, you'll have made new friends. You'll have figured out where the supermarket is. You'll have figured out, where the parks are to go for a walk. You'll have figured out everything sort of thing. And hopefully you've made new friends. Perhaps you've left some old friends behind, which sometimes could be a good thing, sometimes a bad thing, who knows? Family's a big issue. Are you closer to family or are you further away from family? And I think there's a point about family that a lot of people mistake or don't think about properly when they're talking about, well, I'm going to downsize, but I'm going to be sort of nearer family or further away from family. What if the family moves? In other words, you move this year and you're closer to the family and you think, whoa, this is wonderful, great, I can see the grandkids much more often. I mean, that's wonderful. And then all of a sudden along comes a new job for one of the parents and they move.
I know people that happened to, as a matter of fact. They moved halfway across the United States to be 15 minutes from the grandkids. And a year later, they were all transferred somewhere else for work. You're absolutely right about that. Here's the big thing. In thinking about whether or not people should downsize, we have this fear-based tendency to keep coming up with all the problems, all the obstacles, all the worries, instead of taking a clean piece of paper and saying, right, we're just going to sit around the kitchen table here and make a list of all the benefits, all the good things. I mean, you mentioned family, you mentioned friends. One of the reasons that you might move, opportunity to try new things, opportunity to meet new people, opportunity to experience a new city, a new climate, a new culture. All of those could be really good things. All of those can be things that your life really needs to re-energize you, to infuse a sense of purpose in life. You mentioned having to find where the stores are. That's a good reason to get out of bed in the morning. Come on, sweetheart, we're going to explore this new neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm hungry. Let's go find a grocery store. Yeah, I mean, that makes some sense. No, but I mean, you've got things like if you've lived in the city all your life because you've worked in the city, therefore your entire lifestyle has been revolving around city life. Who knows? Maybe you fancy going out and living in the country for a while or forever. So, I mean, downsizing, you're right. There are so many factors involved, emotional, whatever, etc. But they're just some plain old-fashioned, simple things that say, look, I just fancy a new location. I just fancy going someplace different. And, some of the pitfalls about, family and friends, etc., you'll get over them. Now, I mean, I'm not advocating that you should downsize. All I'm saying is that once and we've discussed in other videos, the financial issues of it, the equity release and so on and so forth. But, then when you look at the emotional things, the lifestyle things, all of those things come into play. But you've got to look at them rationally. You've got to look at them with some common sense and say, would I really fancy, doing that? We've talked before about, well, why don't, if you want to go and live in the country, well, go and, rent a place in the country for a month. See if you like it. Maybe you won't like country life. Maybe you're desperate to get back to, commuting style of life in the subways and whatever it may be. Maybe not, but, go and try it for a while.
Obviously, the subject of downsizing or moving in any capacity is a really big decision that you shouldn't rush into. And our next video is how to think about making these things easy. I want to close with one final thought. That fear that I talked about at the very beginning, that you are never going to feel like it's home again. Well, home is where your heart is, which means home is wherever you are. So wherever you are, wherever life takes you, the best thing to do is get out of bed in the morning and embrace the day. And it doesn't matter where you are. Life will be fulfilling and you'll enjoy yourself if you have that attitude. If you're still watching, we must have said something helpful. So please subscribe to our channel and we'll chat with you again soon. Take care, everyone.